let's get more on our top story this evening. A whistleblower has claimed the death of a child cancer patient in 2017 has been linked to a contaminated water supply at Scotland's largest hospital, the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital in Glasgow. Our reporter Conor Gillis joins me now. Conor, what do we know?
Well, last September, Bill, 2 wards at the Royal Hospital for Children, which is part of that huge super campus that you mentioned in Glasgow, they were closed and patients were moved into the adjoining Queen Elizabeth University Hospital, the main part of the campus, because teams from Health Protection Scotland were moving in. They were tasked with investigating water contamination incidents, and that report came back this year, and its findings were 23 cases of bloodstream infections with organisms potentially linked to water contamination. It said that there was widespread contamination. Now, those cases being talked about here were identified between January and September of 2018. Fast forward to today, the Scottish Parliament heard from MSP Anna Sarwar, and he says that he was told by a clinician or by a senior person within NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde that they wanted to investigate further, and they explored back to 2017, and it's claimed that this investigation found up to 26 further cases of water supply infections in children in the cancer wards of that year, and that 1 child with cancer died after contracting an infection. Let's hear now from Mr. Sarwar.
What this requires is someone to really understand that what we are talking about is families whose children have acquired infections because of the water supply at the hospital. In one case, a child losing their life because of an infection acquired by the water supply in the hospital. That's simply not good enough, and those families deserve answers.
And what can you tell us about the documents that you've seen?
Look, the review that took place only reviewed the cases in 2018 and 2019. The Health Board claimed that there was only 1 infection in 2017. It actually looks like there was closer to 26 infections in the children's cancer ward in 2017. In one case, it was believed to be the cause of death for the child. As I said, that's never been told to the parents.
And what's the Health Secretary saying about this?
Well, Jean Freeman says that she found out about this child's death back in September of this year, but she insists that she acted straight away. But the whistleblower, as you mentioned there from Anna, or as you heard there from Anna Sarwar, also suggests that the parents of this youngster who died were not told at the time in 2017 about this infection. We can now hear from Ms Freeman, who's been talking to our health correspondent Lisa Summers.
What do you then say to the parents of this child? Because that's the other thing that's come out of this, is that they weren't told at the time that this bacterial infection linked to the water supply was related to the child's death.
What I would say to them is what I said to the correspondent who wrote to me in September, and that is that I deeply regret not only the death of their child, in any circumstance, that it has to cause a pain that I can't possibly imagine. But I also deeply regret that they feel that they have not been given the information that they have a perfect right to receive and are entitled to. And they have my commitment to act to ensure that that kind of situation does not happen to parents in the future.
And as Health Secretary, you do not regret making public that information that you knew that a child had died from a hospital-acquired infection, particularly with such a spotlight on the hospital and what's happened there?
I absolutely don't regret honouring patient confidentiality. I will never regret upholding patient confidentiality. I think it is entirely the right thing to do. But upholding patient confidentiality does not mean that I don't act on the information I'm given. When I'm given it, I act on it.
And have we heard from the Health Board itself?
Well, no one was available for interview today, but NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde insist that the tests have shown that the water supply on this super campus show that it's safe. They say their overriding priority is the safety of its patients, and that extensive measures have been put in place, including assessments by an independent expert. But just to put all this in context, you heard a bit from Lisa's exchange there with the Health Secretary. There's a long history of problems at this flagship hospital. Earlier this year, it was confirmed that 2 patients had died after contracting a fungal infection that was caused by pigeon droppings. Fast forward a few months, a public inquiry has since been ordered to examine the safety and the well-being of issues at this campus. But I think it's important to stress and finish on this tonight. The Health Board insists that the facility is absolutely safe.
Conor Gillis, thanks.